And just like that, another week starts. Big week for me this week. I got blooming tons to do all over the place. Hello, I'm Russ Kane. This is the Midday Show, and it's live all over the world. Get it on YouTube, get it on my Espresso Bar group on Facebook, get it on Twitter, get it on LinkedIn, get it on Facebook, get it in Morrison's, Aldi. I'm leaving that bit up. That's not true. That's not true. Thank you for all your good wishes over the weekend. It was a bit rough for me. I didn't think it would be. I'll be absolutely frank with you. I did not think it was going to be as rough as it turned out. It was the anniversary 20 years ago. And it feels like 20 minutes. 20 years ago, I lost my wife. And I don't mean down the back of the sofa before the more cynical of you start to think that. And 20 years seemed a big thing. And I put a post up on Facebook, and I don't know, about 500 people commented. It was very kind of you. Thank you so much. But on Twitter, all I did was put a picture of her and one sentence. And something like 350,000 people looked at the post. I was absolutely staggered. And I had something like 2,000 comments. 350,000 people. What? They didn't know my wife. And I must be absolutely honest with you, because I think too often we try and sweep things under the carpet, right? And I thought, yeah, I'm going to be fine. I'm going to be all right. It absolutely slayed me. Saturday was, I could hardly move. So weird. I'm being honest about it, you know? Sunday, bounced back. It was fine. But just that day was an absolute swine. Anyway, there we are. You know him. You love him. He is the king of comedy within, I'm going to extend it, a 3-mile radius of the Tolworth Tower. Yeah, that's how good he is. Mr. Neil Long.
Hello. I saw your post. I thought it was lovely, and I was thinking of you. And it would seem an awful lot of people have your back. It would seem.
Very sweet. Yeah, I'd like it back. It's very sweet. You know, I never expect that. I do it because it's not attention seeking. I'll tell you why I do it, because I think it's rude. Do you know, for those who knew and loved her, my kids aren't on social media, by the way. They refuse to have anything to do with it. Very wise. So I did it as a sort of mark of respect. It's just my personal thing. Never expecting that sort of insane reaction, but thank you. It means a lot.
My experience with grief is it can catch you when you least expect it. But it does become less regular, less intense, less long. Any combination of those three.
Yeah. You know time is not a great healer. You know, so many people. I don't know why they think I'm an expert. I'm not an expert on it. I just had a bit of a, bum ride. And the way that I look at it, and then we're going to bring on our special guest, is this: it's not a great healer. You will never recover from it. All time does is give you mechanisms, which Neil can describe much better than me, to cope. And at first it's like a splitting migraine. You can't deal with anything else. Then it goes to a bad headache. Then it goes to a dull thud. And eventually it's like a background noise in your head. That's it. But it never goes away. Anyway, time for our special guest now. He's already annoyed me. And I'm going to be honest. It's Monday, beginning of the week. He's already annoyed me because he's too good looking. Straight away.
I have that problem.
Yeah. I mean, you look in the mirror and go, it's a burden. I understand that. But this guy probably just looks in the mirror and thinks, yeah, pretty cool. He's too good looking. He's too successful. Ladies and gentlemen, it is Raj Somaiya. He is there. Boom.
Boom. How are we?
Morning, Raj. How are you?
Raj, you know what most comments were when we pre-advertised this? He goes, that is gravity. The best comment was, that is gravity-defying hair.
Pretty much is.
That's what they wrote. Right? Look at it. Jesus. Lovely. Loving it.
In the morning, just like this.
Pretty stylish, man. Pretty stylish.
Yeah, it's not why he's here, but nonetheless, we might as well, be Mr. Teasy Weezy, modern cutting-edge reference there. Is that, all right, I got to ask, is that like product? Or is that how it goes? Come on.
That's how it goes. It's like, honestly, it's got nothing in it today. I've had like 2 a.m. finishes and a 4 a.m. finish over the last 3 days. I'm absolutely knackered.
Bloody
and
hell.
My hair stays like this.
Wow.
How bad?
So those Nando's stay open pretty late in your area.
Yeah, they do.
Anyway, welcome to the show. Thanks for coming along.
Thanks for having me.
It's an absolute pleasure, and big love to Julia, of course.
Of course.
Champion the Wonder Blonde, as I call her. Now, tell us all about yourself. What is Silver Fox Events?
So we're an event management company. We specialize in we started off 30 years ago with Asian weddings.
Oh, right.
From the early 90s, sort of 91, 92. Right. And my mum started a company called Payal Function Organizer. She was the first Indian wedding planner in the country. We're northern based. Yeah, so we started doing that sort of
before we get on to you. Hang on, before we get on to you, I didn't know that about your mum. That is pioneering at its best. Was it a big uphill struggle when she started? And people go, what's all this? Or did they go, yay?
So we struggled initially because we had 3 post offices. We didn't get involved with a scandal.
Oh, thank God.
Mum started sort of doing helium-filled balloons from the post offices. We did balloon in a box with the card shop, which was just...
I'm sorry, I've got a vision. Right, I got a vision of everybody standing there waiting for their pension, holding it.
I used to work for a company. I used to work for a company. They would sell loads of balloons in boxes. I'm very familiar with those. They're very fun.
Really? Yeah, we used to get them printed. Valentine's was massive for us.
That's it. Yeah, would be.
Yeah, and then I think it was 88 or 89. Then the interest rate went up from 5% to 15% overnight.
Yeah.
And me and my mum were just jacked up at that point. All our mortgages were higher than our income. So we lost all our shops.
Oh.
And then we moved the balloon company home into the lounge area. And we started trading with balloons and weddings on balloons. And then we went into flowers. So we did a load of Jewish and English events. Then we did a couple of Asian events, Asian, Pakistani, Indian, the brown ones. And then we started doing more of them. Well, it is what it is. It's
you can say it if I say it. If Neil says it.
Lankan, Sikhs, Muslims, we're all, I said it on Channel 4, like I do weddings for brown people. And then
what happened? Did you get a load of stick about that? And everyone said, yeah, that's fine.
It is what it is. How else do you describe it? Oh, cricket team.
Well, what is wrong with describing someone as brown? I never get
no idea.
I'm kind of shade of light pink. It doesn't really matter. Do you know what I mean?
It's just easier because we're not Asians. It really winds me up when you call me Asian. Now I've got a new title as South Asian. Thanks.
Oh yeah.
I'm either Indian or I'm Pakistani or I'm Sikh or I'm Bengali. We've all got little titles of our own. We don't need to be called Asians or South Asians.
Do you know what that is? That's an American. It's American bullshit. It's where it started.
Right.
Because their knowledge of geography is they couldn't find their ass with both hands. Let's be honest about it. In America, I love them. My daughter's American, but no, and I live there as well. So that's the first thing, and they just lump everybody. Well, it's not from New York. They must be Asian. That's all right. That covers it.
Done. That's it. So I don't know. So when I did the Channel 4 thing in 2015, I just got I said to the producers of ITV who built it, I said, look, honestly, I just do weddings for brown people. And I don't mean that rude, but it's easy. They're Sri Lankan, and they said, Raj, you know what? That's the truth of it. So they put it out there, and that was our strapline for the whole series then. And that's what I was known for, sort of from 2014, 15 onwards.
I'm amazed there weren't riots in the I mean, you can't say any. The wind changes direction. 30,000 people have a nervous breakdown these days. It's somebody's fault.
Do it now, maybe.
Just the wind changed direction. Get over it, And I'm amazed they didn't go for you. And it's always the people who aren't in that particular group, whatever the group might be, that are the most vociferous. And it's like, it's nothing to do with you. Shut up.
Yeah, I came across this concept relatively recently, so-called protectors. It's people that get upset on other people's behalf, but the other people weren't upset in the first place.
Yeah, correct. It's surprising, isn't it, the comments that you get? So we did this. So anyway, we had a problem with our post offices, so they went into receivership or whatever. We started our balloon company, did flowers and balloons for English and Jewish weddings from sort of 1990. 1991, we did a couple of Asian weddings. And then we realized there's 50 tables on an Asian wedding and 6 tables on an English wedding. And when you're doing flower poses and balloons times 50 rather than times 5, we thought this is a great market.
This is the way. This is the business model.
We had no idea how to operate any of these Asian weddings whatsoever. So we started working for the Piccadilly Hotel in Manchester.
Oh, I know it. I know it well. I used to stay there a lot.
Remember that? Yeah, it's like tip-top hotel. So our Asian weddings had gone from school halls to community centres to like sports halls, town halls, and then they were in hotels. Whoa. This was a great thing for us. Yeah. So they're in hotels, but no one's got a clue how to do them. So Joe Azzopardi rang us after we decorated this wedding. Mrs. Somaiya, my mum, Mrs. Somaiya, you've got to come back. There's 2,000 people in the hotel. It only sits 600, and they're in the kitchen, and there's nappies on the floor, and there's chicken legs everywhere. And we're like, whoa, all right. Out of our pajamas, back in our suits, back out to the Piccadilly Hotel. So we used to decorate and go. I walked there, honestly, it was absolute mayhem. Like, I can't even describe it. It was mayhem. There was 2,000 people everywhere, because in the old sort of like the Asian weddings in the community centres, they used to do 3 sittings. So you do 600. Take the paper off, relay it with paper plates, another 600, and again 600 and 200 for the family.
Let me ask you this. It's not a facetious question.
That's fine.
Is there a pecking order, like the top 600? You're our top 600 friends, and Group B, we like you, but not quite as much as the first lot. Or does everybody understand?
First come, first serve. So it's like Alton Towers. So you just move them on. You feed them, and they say thanks. They give a quick present, and they're off. And then the next 600 are in the waiting area. We move them in.
And they leave. Do they leave the wedding, or they just leave that particular area?
No, they're gone. They just eat and go.
I'm liking that. That's my kind of do.
Till 2,000 people. Done.
No, I like that. I come in, I eat, I leave. Perfect.
Yeah, so how long is a session for one set of people?
So it's around about probably an hour and a half. The menu's very simple. On a Muslim wedding, it's basically a starter, a couple of curries, naan, rice, and then a sweet, and it all gets dropped together. So it's just one course really, but there's 3 courses in there. And then they eat really quickly. They give the shuggan, their present, their envelope to the bride and groom, get a photo, boom, they're off. And it just rotates. So that's what the Piccadilly were doing at the time. And it was like, they said, we can't do this. This is 1991. And we managed to control this wedding and everything. And then the Piccadilly Hotel turned around to my mum and said, listen, Joe Azzopardi, this Maltese guy, really cool guy. Look at the mafia. And he goes,
well, of course, it's Maltese.
I have 10 of
these. Run Soho.
Yeah, he goes, I can't do them anymore. Said, you can do all 10 of them for me this year, and I'll pay you £250 per event as a management fee. But you control them. So we said, right, let's do it. So we started doing Asian weddings. But then Mum realised that every other hotel must be struggling. Yeah. And by 1994, she had Liverpool, Leeds, and Manchester on lockdown. You couldn't book
your mum.
Hotels. You couldn't book an Asian wedding in the northwest of England. And then she went
through your mum.
Very fun, yeah. Jeez. Then we moved on to 2002, 2005, where we started doing food, because the caterers weren't keeping up with our design and our English way of expressing our events in a Western way. Yeah. So we started doing food. So Payal became a caterer then, as well as event management. Then we zoomed forward to 2013, where we'd conquered London, went into Europe, and we were doing 200 or 300 weddings a year. And in 2013-14, I split away with Silver Fox Events because I wanted to get back into event management, design and destination. And Mum stayed with the catering company. And that's where we sort of ended up. So and then in 2016, when 15 was Big Fat Asian Wedding on Channel 4, which made us sort of like a little bit like stamp of approval. Yeah. That these guys really know what they're doing with Asian weddings. And then 2016, Mum got a lifetime achievement. And 2017, she passed away. So we sold the Payal brand with Silver Fox Events. Yeah.
Oh no, so I'm so sorry. My condolences.
And vice versa as well. 20 years for you.
Well. Was that unexpected, Raj? Or was that,
yeah, she was just in the Philippines on holiday, and she'd travel a lot. And she got a super bug, which is very similar to COVID, by the way.
Yes.
And there was there was a big Chinese New Year on the beach. And then I found out in Boracay, they were dumping a load of sewage in the sea. Oh, so, when your mum dies, you're on it, aren't you, with media and finding out that someone killed my mum and, So, I found out all sorts of trivia things about Boracay in the Philippines. But anyway, and then, so she passed away. We sold Payal to a friend of mine. So he's running that successfully now. Yeah. And me and Sheetal just carried on with Silver Fox Events. And now we do Jewish events and parties and weddings and just really cool stuff.
What's the big difference between, because people, here's my going in position. I think I don't like speaking on behalf of Neil, but I think he'd agree with me. People are people. So whether it's a wedding, whatever it is, they just want to have a damn good time and celebrate. That's what it's about. But what are the big differences for you as a professional when you're doing different types?
What for me?
Yeah, what are the big differences you notice? I mean, things you have to be
from a wedding to a party, or from
if you're doing if you were doing a Muslim wedding, or you're doing a Jewish wedding, or you're doing a I don't know, a Catholic wedding, or whatever it means. I'm not religious, so but if we're going to put in those demographic delineations, then what do you notice as the difference?
So I mean, there's a lot of changes that are happening now post COVID, where the religious side of the weddings have been minimized. So the youngsters nowadays are saying, can we keep the ceremonies a bit smaller, a bit shorter? It's about being with our mates and getting married. So that's happened. The number of guests have gone a lot smaller. So you don't have you don't have like Indian weddings at 2,000 people anymore. They're more like 250 or 300. Even the Jewish weddings have come down in size. A lot of them have gone destination, which has run it down to about 150 now. So it's really interesting how the numbers are dropped, and the actual religious bit is parked at the side a little, but they do keep the tradition because the old grandmas and the aunties get involved unnecessarily, and we have to do a bit. Yeah. And we have a lot of multicultural weddings. So now we've got Indian and Jewish marrying, you've got Muslim and Hindu marrying. So all this multicultural stuff happens. So everyone starts respecting one another, and they park their religious bits again at the side, and maybe keep it just within a few to do the nikah or do the Hindu wedding, and then just have a big celebration for everybody. So it's much more tolerant now. It's not focused on the religious and everything else. It's more about being Western, being fun, having a great time. So they're all following that suit, really.
Yeah.
And it's a great thing that's happening.
It's interesting you say that. As a celebrant, which you knew I was going to bring up, but as a celebrant with the weddings, obviously funerals are pretty different. But with the weddings, I obviously, as you know, with UK law, we can't marry anyone. That has to be a registrar.
Correct, yeah.
Even if you turn up with two people you drag in off the street, then you can be legally married. And I always explain that very, very carefully, because otherwise you end up like Cherry Hall and Mick Jagger. So... But I've noticed I've got a wedding coming up in about just over a couple of weeks, which is going to be lovely. And of course, they just want the celebration part, which is what I do. And we write all that. So I'm seeing what you're seeing reflected in the requests that I get on the wedding side of it. That they just want to have a lovely ceremony and get the legality of it over and done with a tiny number, if nobody.
That makes sense, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does, honestly. And I think the celebrants it's a massive movement, and I'm pushing it more and more in our events, because the registrars are fantastic and they do a great 15-minute job, but it's very formal. They're not allowed to step outside of their lines that they have to say. And it's quite boring at times, to be absolutely fair to them. And they do a fab job, and I'm not saying anything about civil ceremony or registrars. But you get a celebrant in there, and all of a sudden you're sharing, Raj did this, and Sheets, his wife, did that, and they met here, and they love each other, and there's a bond of families, and that's how a wedding ceremony should be.
I agree.
I do, say a few vows, sign a book, and see you later. It should be that interaction of how they met and what happened, and a lot of people there don't know that.
Just speaking my language.
We've got a problem at the minute. Because the Cheshire venues, I've been speaking to all, because I've been in Cheshire I've been working, obviously for 30 years. And, the Cape Store and Tatton Parks of the world. And the venue owners are saying, Raj, there's not enough registrars in Cheshire to come out and do these weddings for us. So they're not able to sell their venue.
Precisely.
It's like, are you joking? Like,
no. Raj, I had a conversation. And I haven't told Neil this. I had a conversation last week with one of my clients. They couldn't get a booking till November, and I thought I must have misheard with my rubbish hearing. She said, no. She said, I can't get a booking with the registrar till November. And what you've said it's very interesting. I'm just going to digress for a second, but it's completely central to what you're saying.
Yeah,
because we as celebrants are trying to get the government to make it legal for us to do an actual legal ceremony, as well as all the enjoyment which you've just beautifully described, so that if we did the ceremony, you are legally married.
Yeah.
Obviously, the registrars are fighting tooth and nail and don't want it. Yeah. But not just that, the registrars now want to be celebrants as well. So it's a little bit. It's not that friendly. Let's just say that the what could have been friendly ain't friendly. Right. But I understand what you're saying about the venues.
Yeah. I just want them to sell their venue, so they can't sell their venue. They're struggling. They need to pay for these beautiful homes and stately homes that they've bought. Yeah, sure. Revenue from the weddings pays for the roof and the light and the electricity. And if they can't sell a room on a Saturday because of the registrar not being able to go, and then they can't sell the wedding for the whole day, I just think that's rather unfair.
It is unfair, but the only way they can get around that is have the beautiful ceremony and the bride can walk up in the white dress and do all of that, and then as and when it's available, go to the registrar and make it legal. That's the only way around it. It sounds naff. I know it's not what you want, because you'd love it all in one day because it feels more embracing, I would say.
Yeah, but I think they should go to the registrar office on a Wednesday afternoon at 12:40 with 5 people and sign a book and then have this fabulous wedding with a celebrant who's going to elaborate it, and it's going to be fun. We set the whole wedding ceremony up, and it's so much pressure putting all the chairs together, the florals and everything for 15 to 20 minutes, where a celebrant wedding could be about 45 minutes and a lot of fun. It's adding value to that whole ceremony bit. So I think we should all go.
I like the way you're putting it, fun and adding value. Yes, and it's interesting that the religious bit has shrunk down as well, because I've always found the religious aspect very formulaic, if you like. Yeah. But I've noticed when there's celebrancy or secular celebrations, there's ironically an awful lot more love in the room at those.
Yeah,
most of the
absolutely.
Time, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, it's a joining of two families. It's a bride and groom getting together, and it's we do want the families to bond, because we don't have any problems later on in life, and it's the whole. I don't know. There's a lot more to it than just signing a book, really, and going to all that trouble of setting the whole ceremony area up as well for that.
It doesn't seem worth it for 15 minutes. I mean,
it's a huge amount of work. If you've never run an event, I had a corporate production company, and for many years, and if you've never run an event, the detail that goes into it is jaw-dropping, because if you get one aspect wrong, you're screwed. It can can ruin the day.
And then timing. So registrars book every half an hour, every hour. So some bride and grooms are slightly late. Bride's had a problem with the dress, we're pinning it up, she might have a makeup issue, her hair's not gone right, I had to wash her hair again and get it all done again. It's cool.
Oh, God.
The registrar's there, 11:15, say, mate, you need to get married in 15 minutes. If you're not, I'm off. And so the pressure of that, they've already got pressure. Then we've got the pressure of the civil ceremonies. It's not their fault, the registrars, because they've got to go to another wedding and another wedding because they're fully booked. We've actually missed weddings, because of cars not turning up once. I did. It was the only once, but I did. I normally wing it and manage to keep them there for a bit, and we get the wedding done. But celebrants are going to be quite cool about that. You've not got back to back.
You've booked most of the day, Raj. You've booked most of the day off. Because it's going to be so, 15 minutes, half an hour, either way is, to be honest, utterly irrelevant.
And celebrancy, you have the opportunity, like we say, to learn so much more about the person. It becomes so much more personal, doesn't it?
100%.
And bonding with the family and all that sort of thing. No question. No question at all.
You formed a relationship.
Win-win.
And you can't expect a registrar, and again, I'm with Raj, I am not being rude about registrars at all.
Same here.
You cannot expect, within the confines that they have to work to, you can't expect them to know the couple or bond with the couple or find out all the funny things and the little quirks that make the ceremony so personal. They can't, because this sounds horrible. It's a production line.
Correct.
It's a production line.
Correct, yeah.
And they have to keep to that, to keep to their schedule. It's not a criticism. It's merely a fact. It's like saying trains run on time. Well, trains run on, mostly. You know what I'm saying? That's what it is. Do you still have the same love for the job, which I think is...
No, I adore my job. I absolutely adore my job. And someone
it shows. It just shows the way
I'm so passionate about my job.
No, but it shows. I can almost feel it through the screen.
I'm all in.
It's great to see, because so many people moan about their job, but to see someone who's almost like being what they were put on earth to do, and you can see it shine through.
No.
Whatever that might be for you.
And you know what, Neil, you have to love this job, because it's not very rewarding financially, time-wise, family-wise. You've got to balance a lot of things out.
It needs an understanding spouse, I would have thought.
Yeah, but the euphoria. I said this to somebody, like, you get the fear of putting an event on, and then you get the endorphins of going through that fear because you break the fear, and then you get the hug from the dad or the mum at the end, and that euphoria feeling that you get outweighs any checkbook, any feeling on the planet. It's just, you've gone from super fear to super win, and it's like, smash this. It's just such a great feeling,
You are speaking, Neil.
No,
you are speaking Neil's language. You're speaking Neil's language. It's so interesting. It's so interesting you say this. I had lunch recently with a very dear friend of mine. Known she's a fantastic writer, and she said, "Well, how much do you charge for funerals?" I said, "Well, for funerals, which is not the same as what you do." But I said, "Well, it's a standard fee across the United Kingdom, whether you get me or Fred Smith. It makes no difference. It's set by the funeral directors across the UK, and it's a standard fee, which I've made clear. There's no surcharge if you get me. It's the same as everybody else, right?" And she said, "But that's so much work. You've got to meet the people." I go, "Yeah." And then you've got to do all the writing. Yes. And then you turn up for the funeral, the conductor. I said, "Yes." She said, "But it's not worth that." And I said, "You're missing the point."
Yeah.
And the point is, Raj, exactly what you just said.
Yeah.
The satisfaction I derive personally when somebody is at their lowest.
Yeah.
In your case, it's when they're at their highest and having a wonderful time.
Yeah.
But often it is when I'm doing weddings, but at funerals, but they're at their lowest. They need help. They need guidance. They need support.
Yeah.
You can't put a price on that. And I come away and I feel, that I've done a proper job. And Neil's uses a wonderful phrase, why you're here, or what your mission is, why you've been put on earth, or whichever way you want to dice and slice.
I think also it bears out a point that we've talked about quite a lot on the show, and we've talked about mental well-being, and perhaps, Raj, you'll endorse this. Happiness leads to success rather than the other way round. Happiness leads to successful outcomes more than the other way round. So people think, if I only be this successful, then I'll be happy. And then they find it's a struggle, and then they're not happy, and then they're not happy. But if you're happy, then you're more likely to act in a way that's going to make things more successful. It works that way round. And there's quite a lot of science behind that now, I understand.
Yeah, I totally agree. And mental health is such an important part. And I think there was a statement on Instagram this morning, I think it was from my coach, Laura, and she said something like, if you woke up on a Monday morning and you're not looking forward to going to work, you've got the wrong job. And it's absolutely right.
Totally.
I'm knackered today. I've done 3 events back to back, but and I've got up this morning, but I'm still buzzing about my job.
No, I know what you mean. I had a great DJ gig on Saturday. I had an open mic comedy gig last night, and it's busy, but it's fun busy. It's not burnout busy. It's fun busy. It's not nose to the grindstone busy.
Yeah.
Apart from your job, which you clearly love, what else do you do for your mental well-being? Because we do talk about mental health on this show.
So I do look after my health. I'm not saying I do yoga, but I do 3-4 times a week, some exercise and stuff, which I love. I do try and eat as healthy as I can. And I put that forward to my kids, because when I had the shops, I was 18, 19, the post office was next to a chippy. And I used to have a chippy probably 3 times a week. But that was normal for us. Meat potato pie, chips and gravy that was our stable lunch, wasn't it? It was like that's
really marvelous.
And I still have it.
And it'd be rude. Yeah, Neil's right. Be rude not to.
I know, but like you've got, now we realise how much is in there, and you should have it once a week and not 3 times a week. So
it's just a bit tempting when it's so convenient, isn't it?
Yeah, when it's next door. Come on.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So food, I look after. My health, I try and look after, because I'm 55 now, and I want to be there for my kids when I'm older. So I try my best to look after myself and my kids, really, more than anything.
You can tell you practice self-care. You do look very well, which is great to see.
Yeah,
annoyingly well.
They fit in our job.
55, annoyingly well. That's what I'm saying. I'm going to complain to Julia.
And then we travel a lot, on these EasyJets and Ryanair flights everywhere to Europe.
You're brave.
Stuff. So it's you got to stay fit, and your back needs to be right. So yeah. I don't know. It's a whole well-being thing that I try and do, but I don't do it all the time. I still love my wine, still drink, still go out party until 5 a.m. But I do try and balance it.
They're not necessarily mutually exclusive. I think a wise man once said, "Your body is half temple and half nightclub." He said, "Too much temple and it's boring. Too much nightclub and you die." And it's all about that balance.
I love that. Who said that? Peter Stringfellow.
I think it was a guy. He was a kind of contemporary teacher of Taoism, Barefoot Doctor. I don't think he's with us anymore.
Wow.
The Barefoot Doctor.
I remember that.
Googleable.
I remember that. Barefoot Doctor. Yeah, I remember all that. Yeah, then they had the Barefoot Contessa.
He's getting that balance right there, isn't it? Right down there.
Yeah. Half temple, half nightclub.
Yeah, love it.
So, Neil, does that mean you can't wear trainers because they can't get into the nightclub?
Yeah, that would be.
That's the problem. See,
and you have to take them off to go in the temple. So trainers are kind of out on both fronts.
Straight away, I'm hitting the straight away. I'm seeing the downside of the whole thing.
Brilliant.
So, Raj, do you plan to? Have you got? I mean, everyone has plans, kind of, for the future, which always get trashed. But is there something else you're thinking of moving into, or is that it? Or you're thinking, well, I'm doing this, I could do.
No, just
before you answer that, Raj, do you have a website we can put on the screen to show everyone?
Yeah, so we're at silverfoxevents.com.
Okay, I'll just pop that on the screen.
So we've just, I don't mean to, this is what we're doing. It's nothing mega or whatever, but we've opened an office in Dubai, which I'm going to work on in November.
Whoa.
I know it's cool. And I know my partner out there. We've done a few events there, but I see growth there. I see, you know what it is? We do a lot in the UK, we do stuff in Europe, but it's so exciting out in Dubai because there is so much opportunity to really get good budgets and do some magic stuff. And sometimes you don't. I'm at a level where I really want to do some really intricate, difficult event work, and I think there's a bigger pond down there for me to play in. So we're just tapping into that at the minute.
It's a bigger toy. I always think of Dubai. It's like a bigger toy shop, isn't it? Really?
Yeah,
it is. It's like whatever you want. I mean, it's bonkers. It's like Las Vegas of the Middle. It's like Las Vegas and then some. It's Las Vegas on steroids in the Middle East. It is completely mad, but
it is bonkers.
If you just leave your criticalness, if there's such a word, at the airport, and just go and have a good time, it's great. If you go there looking for culture and everything, you really are in the wrong place. Just go and have fun.
Yeah, 100%. They've made it into a great playground for everybody. So I find there's some opportunities there. The opportunities there are corporates. So we're getting approached by. So we're not a big corporate company. We're amazing 50th birthday party people, and we're amazing wedding people, obviously, and we do bar mitzvahs and stuff. But with corporates, just something new for us. But we're really enjoying like vamping up the corporates because they're so boring. These gala dinners and awards dinners.
I used to have to write them. That's what I produced. You know that, Rod. That's what I produced for years and years and years with my company.
They're so generic. I would hear of business trainers that would go in and like, or mindset trainers, if you like, people that will go in and teach NLP principles to people in business and stuff. And the very first thing they would do was get the businessman to smile, which they hadn't done for years. And it could be the corporate events can be, unless you've got someone like yourself on board, dry and generic.
Yeah.
I used to try and make them as different as I humanly could. My favorite. We've got time. Have you got time? You got time? Are you dashing off, Raj? You got time?
No, cool.
All right. My favorite was I was called in by a huge pharmaceutical company, and they'd had a problem that some years ago their warehouse had caught fire.
Oh wow!
The fire brigade came along and obviously used the hoses and water to spray everything. And it went into the river. Unfortunately, it then polluted. They had to evacuate towns, villages right through Europe. That was bad enough. But because they were all chemists and everything like that, huge company, I won't name them, gigantic, they didn't bother to apologize.
Right.
They didn't bother to apologize at all because their view was, well, if you put water with these chemicals, of course that's going to happen. So no apology at all. And then a really half-assed apology weeks and weeks later. It was too late. So I was brought in to try and change their whole attitude. So I got a load of actors and we rehearsed in London. Didn't tell the company we're doing this. And we had them mic'd up. And so we started with a cocktail party and then went into dinner, and then we showed the film of how indiscreet these people had been. And they were like, oh my God. So it's like, you're never off. And then we did false press conferences, and somebody would come running in, an actor or actress, and start yelling. And so we trained them how to deal with heck. I mean, it was, I had huge fun. I had huge fun doing that.
No, that sounds great. That sounds like the corporate event I would go
to. You want to go to?
They were horrified.
Absolutely. I'd want to be one of the actors.
It was fantastic fun because it was like, do you understand to the outside world how you come across?
Yeah.
And when you see yourself being a complete horse's ass up on a huge screen, it's like, oh, I think I've got the point now.
Well, this is the area we're falling into, and I just feel as if a party planner should go into the corporate area.
Yeah,
and I get all the pens, pads, presentations. I know the CEO's got to tell everyone he's not making money or making money and boost his staff up, but there is an underlying thing here, like families, that you need to get them together, have a bit of fun, throw some bits in there, and let them enjoy their company. It's that team bonding. And I know they do golf days and this day. Just a good party is great. Just get them all moving, chatting, and having fun.
And with corporates, people, especially Americans, I dealt with a lot of American companies. Of course, they do slide presentations, and the slide is like a book. Each slide's like a book. You can't read it. It's got Helvetica 8 print, and 8 point. You go. And if at the end of a corporate event, if you remember 3 things you've done really well.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's as simple as that. Yeah. Remember 3 things. By the time you got to your car park and you're heading home, you've done all right.
And I still think the award ceremony thing needs to be shaped up a little bit as well. It's quite, I was at some media awards, some other awards, and they're going for about an hour, 2 hours, like giving awards out. Everyone's getting bored. There's got to be another format to that, or a breakup of it. I'm not sure how they do it, but
I've got a colleague, mutual colleague of ours, Mick Brown. He's really good at doing things like that, and I've done several of those with him. But it's short and sharp, and there's a bit of there's a walk-on music for each one, a themed walk-on music.
Yeah, nice.
So it might be, I don't know, Caroline, someone, so it'd be Sweet Caroline. And it's cheesy, but it's fun. And it just gets the atmosphere up in the room. It's just fun.
That's fun. Yeah, they need more of that.
Fun and business are not like happiness equals success. I think fun in business would lead to more success rather than 100%. Being successful so you can have fun. It's always flipping it on its head, isn't it?
Yeah, it's that short.
Well, you can't lead by fear. Too many corporations lead by fear. If you don't do this, you will be fired. If you don't meet your target, it's like, well, that's not a way to. I get it.
Surely,
I hope so, but I'm not convinced. But I hope I mean, they should go. They have no place in a modern world.
No, absolutely,
they have no place because people have.
It's lucky that we've never worked for anywhere like that, Russ. I'd hate
not
that.
At all.
Yeah.
Neil and I absolutely did not work for anybody who ruled by fear ever.
Not at all.
Not in the least.
Not once.
Not once.
Up the stew.
You'll text me a list later.
You spot the biting sarcasm there, Raj.
Jeez, man, Raj. What off air we can tell you one day, but we'll tell you over
the stories we could tell you.
But the good thing about it is that you look at that and you go, yeah, whoever it was, doesn't matter, nameless, gigantically successful, universally loathed.
Yeah.
Do you want to be that? Do you want to be that person?
I mean, that's the deal you make. Change their attitude and learn a couple of just simple people skills. Yeah. People would have fallen at his feet to be of service to him, and the organisation would have worked much better. Yes, you can rule by fear. It works-ish for a while, but it's not the best way of doing it. Far from it.
No, not at all. It just
but I've had bosses that I would, go over the out of the trenches with because I admired them so much.
Yeah.
I thought they were so smart. If I did wrong, I knew I'd get a bollocking, but I would have deserved it. And there was no malice with it. It was like, you did this wrong. All right, let's move on. Okay. And you think, I mean, you got to own your mistakes. Owning your mistakes is a huge part of life. No problem saying, not my fault. And if it's your fault, it's your fault. And you just 100%. Put your hand up to it. But they were so inventive and supportive. And I just thought they were great, fantastic people. Still in touch with one sadly passed, but still in touch even 2 days ago. And that's the difference.
Yeah, it's like we discuss this on events though. So we have, we do these large events, and then we might have 150 freelancers on site, and they're only there for that short period of time, and they're getting paid a fee for that period of time. So how do you motivate those people to deliver exactly what we need for the client? you know, and that motivation and how we put the team together and give them passion about the job and tell them about the bride and groom and how much it means to them. They're all in.
Exactly.
So forget their children that they're earning. They're actually working 500 quid's worth because they want to nail this for Raj and they want to nail it for the bride and groom or for the birthday boy or something. And
if people feel included and recognised, then again, productivity will shoot right up. It's not difficult. It really isn't difficult.
It's not.
Is it?
You have to have rules, though, Neil. Like, we've got to have rules. They've got to stick to what I'm telling them to do. And I might, you know, I'm a bit moody on an event, you know, and they know that. And I'll apologise from the beginning because I'm very focused. I don't want to talk to anyone unless there's an issue. I've got shit to do, so let me carry on.
Yeah.
And then, you know, and don't approach me for a stupid thing. Just sort it out, you know, because I've got to deliver for the client. But please, if you're going to do a job, if you're going to move a chair from there to there, just use two hands. Do it with thought and passion. Just do it with thought and passion. Don't just throw
it's the little thing. I couldn't agree with you more. It's the little.
You're going to do it anyway, so do it nicely.
Yeah. If you're going to have to do it with good grace.
Please
don't do it with bad grace. And also, of course, you know as well as I do that bad news travels infinitely faster than good news,
especially today.
And people, for some reason, they will fixate on the shitty thing that happened.
Yeah.
And how was the food? Oh, fantastic. How was it? Oh, it was fantastic. Right. Yeah, and it's like, no, don't focus. I remember, you know, what you were just saying about don't approach me, I get moody. The difference is you're not being moody, you're being professional and you're focused. And when you're focused, it's different. I was years ago with Chris Tarrant and think of this, Chris Tarrant, myself and Bananarama. You couldn't make it up if I tried. We were guest waiters.
Yeah, I know, yes, you do.
We were guest waiters for Aldo Zilli for a charity event a gazillion years ago, right?
Yeah.
So we thought, oh, this will be a laugh. This will be funny, you know. We're proper waiters. We're doing all the service, right? Yeah. Exactly as you do at a wedding or whatever. But it's me, Tarrant, and Bananarama. So beforehand, just about we're going to go on, and we're all having a laugh. It's all going to be funny. Aldo Zilli, very successful restaurateur, as you know, takes us aside and bollocks us. He stands there, and the happy, jolly Aldo Zilli that we all knew, he'd gone.
God.
And the professional restaurateur, Gordon Ramsay in full flow, was there because it was his brand.
Yeah.
And it was his restaurant.
Yeah.
And it was his reputation.
Yeah.
And we had to take it really, really seriously. Well, I respected that. I was surprised at the time.
Yeah.
And then I thought, do you know what? The guy's right.
Yeah.
Actually, speaking of Bananarama, you guys know they've had new music out in the last 6 months. Did you know that?
No.
No, I didn't.
Is that true?
It's true. No. Yeah, new album from Bananarama.
Oh, wow. How cool is that?
Right.
Just thought I'd throw that in.
Yeah, why not?
Wow. I'll be waiting for the Thompson twins to get back next.
Oh, don't. Don't. I grew up with these kids. They're amazing.
Tell me something. Tell me something.
The Thompson twins never left. I saw them a couple of years ago. Happy
Shut up. No.
Yeah. I thought they're gone.
Seriously?
Yes.
Blimey.
Those weren't the Nick Kershaw and Howard Jones and
Nick Kershaw still.
Nick Kershaw, I saw at the Happy Days Festival. It was a festival with lots of retrospective artists,
brilliant.
Or the way I prefer to say, artists at the peak of their career. So it was like Human League, Thompson Twins, the Jacksons, ABC, fantastic.
Mad. Human League. Wow, what a band! I was listening to Sting the other day because I love the Police album. And, you know, Roxanne and all that. And I just put it on in the car. My daughter was with me. She's 25. We're driving up to Newcastle. And then she goes, after song number 2, she goes, Daddy, I can't do this anymore. I'm really sorry. And I knew every word of every song. And I could just do the whole album on my own. I'm like, they just don't get it. Like, you want to go and listen to your electronic music, crack on. Have you heard guitar?
I've got a solution. I've got a solution. I'll look it up. There's a song which Sting has collaborated in with Marshmello, and it's based on Fields of Gold, but it's like a modern day song that's been brought up to date. I'll Google it quickly. Tell your daughter about that. That's a sneaky way of getting her to like the Police.
Back in.
I never forgot. One day, one of my kids came in. Dad. He lives in he lives in Texas now. He goes, Dad. I said, yeah. I've discovered this great guitarist. I went, oh, yeah, who's that? He went, Jimi Hendrix. I went, yeah. Yeah, he's great. I said, I know, I saw him loads of times. What? I said, yeah, I'm a huge Hendrix fan. I saw him play loads of times. What? And it was just like they're always reinventing the wheel. Kills me. They're always reinventing the wheel, like we just landed on. What's the most popular music at your functions?
Oh, it's what the client they can't answer that question. No. We bespoke entertainment through our events, and there are certain people that love this. There's certain people that love this. We built a festival for a 40th last year, and he's really into 80s, 90s, and we had some cracking entertainment there. And then I'm building a festival this year for a younger person who's 21, and again, their genre is very different. Although they're a bit old school, they're like it's just really interesting, but they want bangers all the way through it, whether it's violins or whether it's a DJ, whether it's a band or whatever the entertainment is. But what the bangers, they want people to sing along. That's
absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely. Can I talk to you when we're off air? Actually,
I knew this was coming.
Right. Yeah. Oh yeah. Never miss a trick, me.
Absolutely.
You don't get Emily Maitlis doing this. Emily Maitlis says, by the way, I'm available for functions if you.
Oh, dear.
Well, listen, it's been an absolute joy having you on the show. You are welcome.
Really nice to meet you. I have to say your enthusiasm is absolutely infectious, and I wish you well with absolutely everything. Can I hit you up on LinkedIn?
Yeah, of course you can.
Thank you. I will. I'll message you later.
Somaiya, yeah, it's there. It should be there.
See, we oil the wheels of industry here on the Midday Show. All right, take care. Try and get some rest now after your crazy schedule.
I'm all right.
Go and have a sleep. Bye. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye now. Bye.
Take care. Bye.
What a cool dude.
What a nice guy.
What a cool dude.
What a nice guy.
Yeah.
I'm just looking for funny memes. I don't know if you can see that.
No, because there's too much.
You can't see it. If Titanic was filmed in 2024.
Oh, I saw that. Yes.
Yeah, and it's Leonardo DiCaprio and Kate Winslet sinking and taking a selfie.
I know, it's just unbelievable. Do you know what that showed me though? And it so underlines the things that you preach, Longie, is that if you love what you do,
then you never work another day in your life.
It's true, but it shines through. You can't fake that enthusiasm.
No.
You can't fake that energy. You can for 10 minutes and everyone sees through it like tracing paper. It's, if it's in you to do that, if you love doing it,
then it does show.
That's why I get it. But I'm very realistic. If you were in an industrial town and your father and grandfather worked in some, a rivet factory, doesn't matter what it is, whatever it might be, and you're going to go in and that's going to be your life. It's tough. It's really tough.
I remember when I used to sell drinks vending machines in a previous life, and I used to have to cold call industrial estates. And you'd see these people in these engineering factories just doing this repetitive movement all day, every day. Yeah. And I remember thinking, no disrespect to them, but that to me is absolutely mind numbing. And I don't, it was boring enough selling vending machines, which nobody wanted. But I like my kettle. Yeah, but my machine's better. No, it's not. Piss off,
Unless you've done cold calling.
Oh.
It's one of the few things that really scares me, but I have to do it for my celebrant business. I have to phone up funeral directors and then make an appointment and go. But the worst thing I ever did, I had to sell stuff years ago in the early 80s, very early 80s. And I'd travel all over the UK with my sample case and etc. And I had to get across the Pennines, and the Pennines had just opened that day because it was so snowy. The journey was horrific. It took me about 5 hours. And I arrived at an industrial estate, had the appointment, taking me 5 hours of terrifying driving in the snow. I got there. The guy comes out in his carpet. I've never forgotten this. In his carpet slippers and a brown dust coat. Those brown coats like they used to wear in the Two Ronnies. In the shopkeepers.
Yeah.
And he looks at me. I've got my bags, snow in my hair and everything. He goes, "I've put bar up. I'm buying nout. turns on his back and walks away. That was my day. So I have
no.
infinite sympathy for people who have to do that, because I did it.
Because we would have an office that was based in Bristol, and they would just sit there and cold call and make appointments. But people really didn't want to see us, and they'd make an appointment at the drop of a hat. So you drive all the way down Somaiya to Brighton, for example, get there, and it's only wanted literature. No, can't see you now. And because people really didn't like salesmen, particularly vending machine salesmen. Vending machine salesmen were pariahs. They had a really bad name in the industry, because you'd hear stories of like they make a contract for 6 months and then stick a cheeky note in, so it became 60 months, 5 years.
Oh my God.
And there was all kind of shenanigans. I mean, I never did that, but there were people in the industry that were a little not very scrupulous, shall we say. And of course, you have to kind of get past that before these people will even talk to you, because they have to trust you. Paul Claridge says, I really enjoy my job.
Before we read Paul's thing, I'm going to ask you a question, because this was always my problem. How do you not take that personally? That level of rejection, because it sucks. And all of you have sold something at one time, sold a service, whatever it might be, and you're sold no, and you're treated like crap. It hurts.
I would use the 3 Ps for that, which is useful for all situations. I'll put them on the screen.
Okay.
Ask yourself, is it pervasive? Is it permanent? Is it personal? So
give me the first one. I get the other two, but what's pervasive? What does that mean?
Pervasive.
I know what the word means. I don't know what it means in the context of this.
Okay, then are you rejected in all parts of your life?
No.
Is it permanent? No. Is it personal? Most likely not.
No, it's not personal.
So if you use the 3 Ps, permanent, pervasive, personal,
that's really good.
Not. Shall we read Paul's comment out?
Yeah, put it up.
All right, let's do that. Oh, Graham Pack. Is the Birdie song still popular? Graham, if you want to book me, I'll be your DJ bitch and play that song all night for you on repeat.
Oh, God.
Paul Claridge says, I really enjoy my job, so most days it's a joy. A friend of mine is a yoga teacher. She loves teaching yoga, and it shows she's most happy when she's doing that. Her students pick up on that joy. I met a yoga teacher and a newsagent once. She started talking about yoga. She's like, I can put my ankles behind my ears. I never came so close to asking someone to marry me. Are you all right?
I've just got the vision of you in the queue in the post office with Raj and his mum with balloons, and then you and a yoga teacher. The whole thing. The
downward dog was particularly good.
Yeah, it was excellent.
Can I tell you about our guest on Wednesday?
Yeah, please do. Please. I'd like to hear.
A friend of mine that I made over lockdown. She is an incredible woman called Emma Jane Taylor. A very traumatic backstory. I'm just reading from her website. She was sexually abused and groomed from the age of 9. But made it through her darkest hour. She's written a book. She's a keynote speaker. She's got a fantastic body of work out there now. She's turned the healing corner, as wonderful women like her do. And she's also she's a campaigner. She's a media commentator, and her whole merchandise range, if you like, it's the hashtag Not My Shame.
Not My Shame. Yes.
Not My Shame, which is something that abuse survivors, they take on the shame of the people that really should be feeling the shame.
I'm in touch with her for some reason. I think on Twitter or somewhere. Yeah, Not My Shame.
Yeah, she's a wonderful woman, and she's gathered some quite well-known people from various fields in life. So we're going to be having them all on screen.
Brilliant.
And it begins with them having a minute's silence. We won't be doing a minute's silence. That doesn't make good radio, but I should be opening the first minute of the show while they're in the background doing their silence. And then we'll all chit chat about it. And she's a really, really inspiring woman. And I can't wait for Wednesday to interview Emma Jane Taylor and friends.
Staying with that theme for a sec, we have a weekly podcast, myself and Mark Collin, called Walk the Talk, the Hero's Journey, right? You know about that.
Yeah, I do.
And we had a guest on. We record it and then it goes out a few weeks later because we work in advance. And it's rare that I'm lost for words. As anyone who knows me will tell you.
Yes.
And not very good if you're a broadcaster and you're lost for words, probably in the wrong job. And our guest was charming and lovely. And she had been abused by her father and her brother from the age of 3.
Oh, God.
I felt so sick. And I thought, well, I've got to do my job. It's a podcast. No point me sitting there like a wreck. And she'd done so much work on herself and was brilliant, and now helped those in the similar situation through trauma. And she was so together. And I was like, God, I'm really going to have to dig deep to stay professional, because I couldn't. I just.
It's very, very humbling.
I just can't. Most things you can say, all right, I can kind of understand that. Or I can kind of. No, I can't understand it. I can't. There is not one part of me, not one atom of me that can find any excuse. It is just disgusting on every level.
It angers me. And then I came to realize afterwards that my anger doesn't really help them, apart from validating what they already know, possibly. But there's an awful lot more awareness around these things now, and wonderful pioneers like Emma Jane Taylor and others who have turned, I quite like the phrase healing corner, and that's when you kind of, I say finish, you never really finish, but have done a lot of work on yourself. You never
finish, but you can.
Which is all you can do. You can't.
At least you can function properly and not be in kit form.
Yeah.
I think. This lady's name's Melanie Curtis, and the podcast will be out in a few weeks' time. It is so powerful, but if you're thinking they're going, oh God, that must be, it's also incredibly uplifting. Because which I think is the point. It's the point of what you're doing on Wednesday.
It shows that we do have the power to heal ourselves, to make a difference to ourselves, attract the right people around us, learn about important things like boundaries, basically almost reparenting yourself, if you like. You could call it self-love, but it really is, and we could all do with that. And it's so profoundly important. But people like this are leading lights because they show what's possible. And most of us, thank God, probably won't have to face challenges like that, and no one deserves to. But for those of us that do, it's inspiring to see other people. And the best mentors, in my opinion, are the ones that are just one step ahead. Otherwise, they become on pedestals and almost seem inapproachable. If you think like a motivational guru on stage, you don't want that. You want someone that's normal and human, just like you, but just one step ahead and say, come this way, come this way, come this way.
It's also clearly what your guest on Wednesday and what my podcast guest, our podcast guest with me and Mark Collin, Melanie Curtis, it didn't define them for the rest of their life. Because I really think, I know this is an unpopular view, Neil, but I do think, especially in America, and I'm going to be facetious for a second to make my point. Somebody took my bicycle away when I was 6 years old and the rest of my life was ruined. No, there is a point. And I'm not saying man up and grow a pair. I'm not falling into that trap. There is a point when I'm saying, Jesus, get over it. Get over it.
Well, that's taking the point. That's taking the point too far the other way. There's a lovely quote from one of my favorite spiritual teachers, a guy called Alan Cohen. It's first we were fine, and then we were defined, and now we're becoming refined. And there's so many levels in that. Read that more than once.
First we were fine, then we were defined. Now we're becoming refined. I'm struggling with the last one. I don't understand what it means. Does it mean you're becoming
because we were fine,
more classy, or you're becoming?
Well, first we were fine, and then we got unfined, defined, and then we're becoming refined. There's many levels in that. So you're becoming fine again after you were defined, if you like.
I'm going to answer Julie Voice, twinned with Houston, Texas, now in Guildford. Can I just ask, can I still listen and watch through Facebook? Our software program, which is not ours, it's the one that everyone uses, it's called StreamYard. They are having some linking problems with Facebook. I've no idea. It's actually
once. It happened the other day. I did check the little icons, which I can see and you can't, Julie, and it does say that we're broadcasting on Facebook.
But I don't understand why people are saying they can't see us. Yeah, I don't know why.
There might be some linking problems at the moment, but there's YouTube and there's LinkedIn and there's the it's gone up my head. Espresso
bar, which you can always watch on, etc., etc. I'll have another look in it. I'm not very technical. By the way,
nice to hear from you, Julie.
Always Bowls Club.
Stop lurking outside those Bowls clubs. It will catch up with you one day.
By the way, if you're expecting, if you sent me emails, if you have, and I haven't replied, it's because when I changed my phone last week, it's still, and I'm going back to the phone shop again today for the third time, it's not accepting emails.
Before we go, shall we just do a quick sum up of what we had on the show today?
I would like you to do that. That sounds
fantastic.
Very
guest. We spoke to Raj, silverfoxevents.com, a man with infectious enthusiasm and zest for life and business.
And great hair.
We love. How to get your children to like songs by the Police. Introduce them to this song, Dreaming, Marshmallow, Pink and Sting. It's based on Fields of Gold and it's really well done. And also speaking of music, new music out from Bananarama, which is pretty good. Something bothers you, apply the 3 Ps to it. Is it pervasive? Is it in all areas of your life? Is it permanent forever? Is it personal? Very rare you will get all 3. And you can flip that into the positive as well. If you do something really good, is it pervasive? Yeah. Is it permanent? Yeah. Is it personal? I did that. So you can turn it around into the positive as well. And here's one to read over and over and kind of mull on a bit. First we were fine, then we were defined. In other words, and then we were refined. And defined could be other people's opinions of you. And it's really our own opinion of ourselves that counts first and foremost. And that's a way of refining yourself, if you like.
This was a former guest, the great Linda Regan, who became, from an actress, became a really good crime writer, very good author. It's from Mr. Claridge, Russ, and Neil. Can we have a big shout out for our friend Linda Regan? Had a nasty fall.
Linda.
Yeah, which is okay, but shaken up, patched up with the wonderful NHS in Beckenham. Well, nice to see the NHS is working in Beckenham. That is a good news. And Graham Pack, as ever, ruining everything with this. At my age, I normally do the 3 Ps overnight. Graham,
you're a very sad man, Graham Pack.
You've got to get out more, fella. You've got to get out more. Neil, have a wonderful time on Wednesday.
Yeah, looking forward to that. Wednesday midday. It's going to be a really touching and uplifting and poignant show. Look forward to seeing you there. Thanks, Russ.
Okie dokie. Until we meet again, I'll be back on Friday with the fabulous Chantal Rickards and, I believe, memory serves, theatre critic Jonathan Badd. Until then,
very quickly, what? I saw the Amy Winehouse movie. Fantastic.
You liked it?
Yeah.
Interesting. Marmite, isn't it? I haven't seen it. I have no view on it.
Oh, I loved it. And I can't remember the name of the girl that played Amy.
Precisely.
But
Eddie Marsan. Eddie Marsan's a wonderful.
Eddie Marsan plays her dad, Mitch. Brilliant. And the guy that plays Blake, her boyfriend, her husband, fantastic as well. I've just got to shout her name out. It's so rude to talk about her and not shout her name out when it's a performance like that. Hold on.
It's interesting. Don't always be put off. Make your own mind up about stuff. You never go, I don't like it. Well, somebody said they didn't like it. Well, make up your own mind. You're over 21. You can do that. What was the name of the actress?
Hold on.
It's on. I'd never heard of her, but she does pretty makes a fair fist of it. That's what they say. Makes a fair fist.
God, yeah. Marissa Abela.
Okay. You want to say that again?
Abela.
And on that note, we go back to black. Ta-ra. Stay out of trouble.
Good afternoon.